Welcome, everyone. I'm Paul Whitcay, founder of the Alliance of CEOs. Thank you for joining us today's Alliance Roundtable to discuss how CEOs are scaling their sales and marketing teams with AI employees. Today marks the 17th session we've had in our ongoing series exploring how real-world CEOs are using AI to drive business performance. 2 years ago, most all of our Alliance members started talking about their curiosity and experimentation with AI. Our Alliance community has always been a place where leaders can engage with other leaders to share their experiences and challenges and learn faster together. Therefore, when I heard everybody talking about AI, I reached out to Matthew Swanson, who is an Alliance member, and he led a group of experienced CTOs in Silicon Valley. And I asked Matthew how we might be able to enable our members to learn more about AI and learn faster. He agreed to moderate a series of AI roundtables, and instead of teaching us how to use AI, he decided to invite a series of great guest CEOs who would tell us what they were learning and doing about a variety of real-world CEOs to drive results. In the process, we've seen an increase of our members using AI from 70% to 95%, and the percentage of those who are seeing positive results have grown from 50% to 70%. Along the way, we've learned a lot about how AI works and how CEOs are experimenting with various tools to address a wide variety of use cases. Today, I'm very excited to have Matthew talking with a fellow member, Mark Elliott, founder of Opportunity South Carolina. Mark attended some of our AI roundtables and decided he wanted to aggressively pursue AI-powered growth inside his own organization. So he decided to contact Matthew to learn what was possible. And as a result, they've created and integrated 5 AI employees into his go-to-market operations. He plans to use them to scale from 0 to 1 million and then from 1 million to 10 million and beyond. And he's here to share some of the things he's doing and learning along the way. So now, as always, I want to be very clear about our Alliance culture. We create safe environments for CEOs to discuss their most sensitive and difficult challenges. And one of our key principles is that it is not okay to directly sell to other members. However, it is okay for a member to ask to buy when they see something they need or are interested and they can reach out. These sessions are not designed to promote anyone's business, but when we learn about something that could help, we are all free to follow up and reach out. In the case today, Mark needed a way to deploy AI employees despite not having a dedicated IT team. He reached out to Matthew because he had learned that Matthew had built a platform that could make it possible. So Mark's story is compelling, not because it's a commercial relationship, but because it shows that AI adoption is no longer limited to just those CEOs with deep technical benches. Tools like Matthew's made it possible for Mark to get up and running quickly and scale fast. So I also want to mention that Matthew does not want to pitch his service. However, he is very open to talking with anyone who wants to explore how AI employees might help in their business, whether they want to engage with his new company, StaffAI, or not. So today we're going to take a close look at AI employees, digital team members that can take instructions by voice or text and perform many of the same functions as a human employee. These capabilities are not theoretical anymore. They're here, they're practical, and they're reshaping how companies scale their sales and marketing functions. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Matthew Swanson, who will welcome Mark Elliott. Matthew, take it away.
Thank you, Paul. And yeah, it is crazy to think this is our 17th session, and we've covered so many exciting topics leading up here, and more to come. There's so much going on with AI right now. Um, in the last session, we heard from Ran Morimoto, who gave us an excellent showcase of practical AI use cases, where we all got to see live examples of chatting with data. We saw use cases across sales, marketing, product, and across various industries. So if you missed it, it's on the YouTube channel. It was a great session. Today, as Paul alluded, we're going to take this one step further and showcase AI employees that can now fully operate roles just like human employees. We have covered parts of this in previous sessions, and now we're going to show some live examples of AI employees in action. Our guest speaker, Mark Elliott, is a fellow Alliance member and CEO of Opportunity South Carolina, which is a firm he started to help property owners obtain low-income tax credits in the Carolinas. Mark is in a relatable situation to most members here, where he is non-technical and runs a traditional business, not a venture-backed business, and wants to gain competitive advantage with AI. As mentioned, I've had the pleasure of working with Mark for the past few months here on staffing his business with AI employees through StaffAI. And Mark, it's a pleasure to host you here. To welcome you, we like to get started with a few rapid fire questions to help orient the conversation. So, one of the things we always like to hear firsthand CEO accounts is what's one of your favorite AI tools that's not Staff AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone uses ChatGPT, right, for everything. I've gotten into Lindy is an interesting one. I don't know if anyone's checked that one out, but I thought that had some interesting capabilities. But obviously, working with you all, that's my new favorite tool and new favorite staff members that we have.
Well, very good. And we've covered in this series how quickly things are changing with AI. Maybe give us your vantage point now seeing AI in action in your business. What's one of the biggest changes you expect to see in the next year?
Oh my gosh. I think we're going to see AI just continue, the AI agents anyway, to continue to eat lots and lots of simple, straightforward administrative processes. And it's going to continue to grow. And I think it's going to get very big and it's going to keep moving up the chain. And just the change that we've seen even the last 6 months has been breathtaking. So I definitely foresee that happening.
Yeah, and I think that's going to carry into our talk track here in a moment. So, last question, curveball. What do you do for fun that doesn't involve AI?
Well, I've got two young children, so they certainly can keep me busy. And then I invest in real estate on the side, so there's always something fun happening with that, if you want to call that, I guess, a hobby.
To each their own, but thank you for sharing. And I think we all have a better sense of where you're coming from here. So, yeah, thanks for that. And now let's get into your sales and marketing journey. Um, Give us the setup. You started this business, you grew it to its first million in revenue not too long ago. And then I remember when we first spoke, your goal was to go beyond, to hit that next milestone, that $10 million mark, and maybe just give us all a sense of, how you were thinking of what needed to change from 0 to 1, and then 1 to 10.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, the things that were hard were just administrative. I'm in the business. I don't know about AI, right? I'm trying. I can see it. I can see that there's going to be things that we can automate that are going to be helpful to us, and so I didn't know where to start. And I think that was one of the hardest things is where do you start? What do you do? And so I was trying to do it on my own. I mean, they make it seem like really easy. You just type some things and like stuff happens, right? Like that's not it. I mean, it is really you need to be skilled in this. You need to understand what you're doing. And so yeah, so I think it was kind of first steps is like let's see if we can do some administrative stuff, some smaller things, and then as we kind of worked through that, right? It's getting bigger and bigger and starting to take on more. I mean, we're now to the point where hopefully we're going to start even taking on some of the things that some of our vendors are doing and reducing our costs. So I think that's how it kind of grows, right? You build it out, and it starts with kind of what you're working on daily, and then continues to go out until I guess I don't know when it stops. It's been really fun to watch.
Well, yeah, as covered in previous sessions, sales and marketing is where the lion's share of AI budgets are going to. Over 50% of AI spend is going to those two departments. And AI is, purportedly able to help in these situations. Um, but yeah, maybe tell us a little bit about the journey there. So, at first you were doing all the sales, and then you were exploring hiring some people, and then how did AI get into, like, how was that even an option?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so the way our money works is if for-profits partner with us, we can provide them some tax benefits, which is great. The lead time on that money, though, is 12 to 18 months. So I've done a sale, and that's great. I still have to do the work, but I don't get paid for 18 months. So it was really by function of, I mean, we didn't have the money. So it was how do we scale and not hire 10 people? And so yeah, that was the biggest thing that we had. We just had a bottleneck. We didn't have the money. It was going to come at some point, but not right now. And then the other thing is, we have done a lot of work in the Carolinas right now with affordable housing. We've only done about 5% of what we can do. And I was flat out. So I was like, geez, if we're going to do more than 5% next year, we really need to figure out how to scale. And AI just seemed like a natural fit for that.
Right. So, I think that's the challenge with, traditional businesses is growing. There's the fixed cost involved. And so, um, being able to scale up off of outcomes would be nice, but that's not always possible with human workforces. And so we have also covered that topic in the past on how, the new model for AI is to align on outcomes. And so let's get into it. I'm sure a lot of folks here are you know, still wondering what the heck an AI employee is. It's kind of a new idea. So let's actually showcase an example here of one of your AI employees in action. I'm going to share my screen and let's narrate this together. Um, I'll kind of guide it, and Mark, just jump in
Yeah.
if you feel there's some extra things to point out. But a typical situation that I know you shared early on was you get all these companies coming your way, all these prospects, wondering if their properties qualify for a tax credit. And so normally, these come over email and you or someone else on your team would have to then go and do all the research and what have you. So here, what we're seeing now is in your inbox, emailing to Anna, which is an AI employee, not a human, and asking her to do the work, asking her to do the prequal. On the right side of the screen, we're actually going to now see Anna's desktop, and this is the novelty where AI employees can now operate a desktop just like a person. So the thing to call out, just so we're all seeing the same thing, on the right, this is an AI employee, not a human, moving the mouse cursor and entering keystrokes. And so the first thing she needed to do was go find out more information about the property. That doesn't exist in a database, so she has to go to apartments.com and capture that data. And so she was quickly able to glean it because she's in AI. She can see the screen and get what she needs, the number of units, how big they are, what they're priced at. She then needed to go to this government issued calculator to find out what qualifies for low income. And it's a pretty complicated tool that normally a person would have to learn how to use. Again, there's no backend API to access. She actually has to learn how to click around the same tool that a human employee might have to do, and fill in all the attributes and take all that data that she compiled from the past, enter it into the calculator. How big are the units? How many are they? Are there? How many are under the affordable housing threshold? Um, by doing that, Anna's able to then produce a output, a report of how many of those units qualify. Um, she now goes into her inbox just like an employee would, starts typing. So we can actually follow along. There's a screen recording of all of her work. So, Mark, you can go back and audit her work if you wanted to, or her manager can. But ultimately, what we're going to see here is how she's able to, if we've all used ChatGPT to generate content, it's almost like that inside of her workstation. She's typing out her email um, to the prospect, to Mark, and the result is going to now be a quote that the customer sees, and along with a DocuSign that Anna prepared in the background. So, this is a fairly involved task. Maybe let's start with how were you doing this before Anna started doing this for you?
Yeah, so manually, it was probably taking me 30 minutes to 45 minutes because a lot of what she did was background, pulling data, doing the analysis, bringing everything up. And so anytime we had to review a property, I had to do that. And so this is a great, quick, easy solution to that problem. And I mean, it doubled my time, right? So what is that worth? What would it be worth to double your time, right? And for me, it's priceless. And then the other thing is the consistency. It's up, it's fast, it's quick, so we can get our answers to our clients very quickly and know whether for them whether it's worth time spending, whether it's worth putting in the time to learn about the program and learn about us or not. Because that email, I mean, if you go back to it, but it says like, "Hey, we think we can save you $240,000. Is it worth 20 minutes having a call?" And most people are probably going to say yes to that.
Right, and you had already seen that working, and now it's just supercharging. We've got an AI employee who can do all those steps. You have some other employees who are AI employees who are also doing various um, interactions with customers. Maybe just roll that up into, what does this mean to your business? Are there any stats you can share around pipeline or revenue that these AI employees are responsible for?
Yeah, I mean, I think even just for the analysis piece for what Anna does, I mean, that's a full-time job. That's probably $80,000 a year paying someone just to do those property analysis pieces. We have some marketing stuff happening for sales. I mean, outreach, LinkedIn has some automated tools in it. And then we're now working on a dashboard that basically tracks all the progress of our deals and even a dynamic CRM that is, I mean, incredible. One of the paradigm shifts I had as we were going through this process with Matthew is that I was like, hey, we should probably get a subscription to Salesforce. They seem to be the best CRM. Like we should probably pay them. I know they're a lot of money, but it's going to be important that we have that. And Matthew's like, well, Salesforce can't keep up with us. It is not built for this. It doesn't know it. We have to do our own. And that was a paradigm shift for me that, gosh, it's not. And it's true. It's from my email. If my email, it says, hey, Bob's no longer with this company. You need to talk to Sarah going forward. It will automatically update our CRM to say, hey, here's Sarah. She's the new contact. If we have a project that's going forward and an email comes in and says, hey, here's the docs for this, it automatically updates the status of the project based on my email to where it's going. So all these things are just so invaluable for us and give us time and speed us up. And yeah, I mean, because we keep adding AI employees, I don't know when I need to hire someone else. I really don't know when that's going to come and when I'm going to have to do that. And that's a weird question. Again, a paradigm shift of like, well, I have a new tasks. I need to hire someone, right? And yeah, so
Well, we're going to get into that in the breakout
sorry, I
session.
jumped ahead. Sorry.
No, that's fun. I think it's an important implication here that will, apply to everyone here as we get into the breakout session. Is really questioning. This isn't a year from now, but like right now, how would you think about hiring differently if you had AI employees? So I do want to hear your perspectives on that, Mark, as well. But before we get there, um, you know, just to circle back to something you said of, look, the sales growth opportunity was obvious. I think, most founders are pretty optimistic, but still, you have the most knowledge about your business. And then the question is, well, how do I get enough staff onboarded? One of the things that AI offers is variable labor. And so maybe describe, what you've seen here in terms of how do you compensate an AI employee versus a human employee?
Yeah, for us, it's been interesting. So I think we have it set up. There's a flat fee going forward, which is very reasonable and low in comparison to what you'd be paying someone. And then it's performance based. So they have to perform, they have to add value to us, and then they're compensated. And so that model is really interesting in that our interests are aligned. So they're doing the work that we're asking them to. They're providing the value that we need them to, and as they are, they're being compensated for it.
So,
So we're in the same boat.
Brave New World, just want to point out to anyone here who's thinking of sales and marketing strategy, whether you're hiring AI or human beings, outcomes, commissions are really the best way to scale up. And it's been really interesting to see how AI can tie into commission-based pricing structures versus fixed costs, SaaS subscriptions. I see some really provocative questions in the chat, and we're going to get to those. I did have a couple more really fun ones to hear from you, Mark, which
Yes.
is just around. Let's start where you were going, which is, you know, again, there's this new way to grow with AI employees. Obviously you're still here doing
Yeah.
your job, right? So how far does this go? When you look at next year,
It,
let's start with something easy. All right. Who are your next AI hires? And then who
oh,
can't you hire by AI?
our next hire is going to be a lawyer. So I was talking about in-house lawyers. Some of the other nonprofits have in-house lawyers. I was like, we need one. And I was talking to your team and they're like, well, what if we just scrape all the information related to all the contracts you've negotiated, what the comments were, why they set them where they were. We looked at all the correspondence back and forth between all the legal teams and all the hundreds of contracts that you've negotiated. And what if we created an AI lawyer around that and built it so that it's in tune with all that? So it's basically a custom lawyer who knows who's a master of all the information that we have. And so that's extremely helpful in-house. But we're now thinking, geez, some of our power users, maybe some of our partners, maybe it's a tool that we offer for them. Hey, if you ever have a problem, you talk to this lawyer, it can help you. So I think the lawyer is going to be our next big one that we do. And then in tune, we're dropping our legal costs from that. We're making decisions faster. We're helping our partners faster. And so it really gives us an extremely large competitive advantage against any of our competitors. And to that end, this whole thing gives us an extremely large competitive advantage against our competitors. I don't know how they're going to compete with us when we're at full speed. I mean, it's literally like we are flying a supersonic jet and they're going to be riding a bicycle.
I mean, that sounds yeah, pretty exciting. In terms of yeah, how Yeah, I mean, how do you view the landscape now? Now that you can scale up faster, are you looking at different verticals or are you just trying to own this market? Are you accelerating your revenue growth? Like, how are you changing your strategic compass?
Yeah, I mean, so we're working with you all. I mean, we projected. I mean, we're probably going to double, if not triple, this year, and we've only been doing this since I think October, September, something time frame where we really put the the gas on. I think next year, for sure, we'll double or triple again. I think it ends up that I mean. I guess I look at it from a market share standpoint. We have 5% market share now. I think we're going to get to 30% market share with you all very quickly.
And then what do you do, Mark? Like,
Well, there's other states we can operate in so that we are not touching right now. So all the tools, all the information, everything that we built out, we can now expand to other states. And so there's a lot of places that we're not operating that we can deploy all these things that we built and all these agents. And again, I think as soon as we step into those markets, we should be the most competitive, nimble, fast, quick group to work with out of anybody there.
I see a number of questions here around, you made a pretty bold statement, and let's not quote that we don't need Salesforce. If Mark Benioff is listening, yeah,
Sorry, for me, for my little nonprofit, I don't need Salesforce.
so, but to the point of a lot of these CRMs have built a lot of tools that end up not being um, as necessary when you have an AI employee in the mix. I think that was the observation you were sharing, which is, really what a CRM is for most companies is a giant spreadsheet. And then there's a bunch of features that some companies use, most companies find it challenging to use. So it almost ends up, becoming just a database. And I think that was what you were sharing here just a moment ago. Can you speak about that? Like, what is the, at its core, now that you're communicating with AI employees, um, what kind of software interaction do you think you need to have anymore?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just more things that we need for our contract. So it probably is DocuSign, it is email, right? I mean, it's probably the basics, but I don't think it's obviously Excel, but we're using Google Sheets, right? And that's been a perfectly fine solution. And it's great because it's a link, right? We can add that to an email very easily. There is no software that we are lacking right now. And I think, and sorry, the Salesforce comment was so controversial. I think for us, it's nice to have something that is dynamically updated through emails and is also more of a dashboard in terms of, hey, here's where our clients are, and then also here's where the projects are. So it's almost a project management tool mixed with the CRM. I mean, it's really just a very nice one location we can go to find out what's happening with everything at any given time.
So, you've shared a little bit about, your backstory about trying AI, about seeing and kind of rebasing your future, how you hire, how fast you grow. You're starting to think things differently. Anything else you would impart to the group? We're about to head into the breakout session, and really the goal here as a community is we're all trying to figure out how do we apply AI into our businesses. What sort
Yeah.
of, guideposts would you give in terms of, getting into the mindset of an AI native environment?
Yeah, I think it's more, the old adage of like, instead of working in your business, you get to work on it. And so you are basically, all the tasks that you're doing that are repetitive daily, you can outsource to an AI agent. They can do it consistently all day long. No errors are going to happen. And it's just going to get done. And it frees you up to think about other things. So, I mean, we started in kind of one paradigm, and as problems started getting solved, it grows, and you think, oh, well, we have new problems and new things that we need to solve, and other things that we can add on to it, and it really allows you, I think, to elevate the business to a level that you couldn't even if you hired a bunch of people. Because there's still other problems and other things that come with that. This is just your problems are getting solved. It's automated and it's scalable, and consistent and cost efficient. So, I mean, there's just a number of things a number of positives to it. And again, yeah, I think it's just that you just start ending up with different problems that you didn't realize when you first started because we have these other problems are solved, and now, geez, well, we can now look at other markets, or we can look right. So you start thinking about how do you grow? How do you become faster? Maybe there's some new tools you can add. How do you build moats around your business? That was something really interesting as we thought, because we're like, the things that we offer aren't necessarily different than what others offer, but what are some other moats that we can build? And AI gives us an opportunity to build some moats that no one else is going to have, and some high walls on the other side of those moats. So, anyway, we've been very excited, and again, our business is just completely transformed in just a few months, and I think in a year we're going to be, I mean, a very interesting, dynamic company that yeah, I mean, it's going to be again very hard for our competitors to touch the capabilities that we're going to have.
Well, we've talked about the one person $1 billion company, or Sam Altman had said that at one point, and who knows if that's a myth, but we're rooting for you, Mark. So, love the ambition, and thank you for sharing your anecdotes with the group. And that's going to carry now into our breakouts, where we've got a new concept of using AI employees. It's not a future thing, it's a now thing. So, all of us have the opportunity to explore our own org chart, and that will be our lead up question: is there a job rec that any of us can think about using AI employees for? And when we come back to the from the breakout session, feel free to tee them up, and we can collab. But Paul, can you take us away?
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Matthew. Yeah, we're going to break into our breakout rooms now where you can talk about your own opportunities to use AI or AI employees in your businesses. So, first of all, if you don't get in a room, I'll be working to get you in the right one. And don't be surprised if I switch rooms for you just to balance them out in the first couple minutes. You should have a moderator in every room, but be prepared to just briefly introduce yourself. Just no more than a minute is just who you are, what your company does, and then what job or task or process might be an opportunity for you to explore and actually use an AI agent employee to do it. And let's see, we'll be coming back to the lobby in about 45 minutes just to summarize what we learned. And if you would like to stay afterwards, both Matthew and Mark and I will hang on at the end of the meeting just to have an informal or improv conversation for anybody who would like to stay. So with that, I'm going to move you into your rooms.